I am currently a agricultural account manager with RBC. I deal primarily with all agricultural accounts and financing their needs. I am also a member of the Ontario Association of Agricultural Societies and a member of my local fair board. I also sit on the Grain Farmers of Ontario board as one of their delegates for my area, being Essex County. And I own and operate my own farming operation and work alongside my family's cash crop and hog operation. So agriculture has always been a part of my day-to-day life. I think from a young age, I always knew I wanted to be involved in agriculture. I knew that there was a place for me on the farm. I am an only child, so at the end of the day, I did know that I always wanted to grow the farming operation, my family's farming operation, and be a part of it in some manner. At a young, I'd say early on when I started my schooling, even at the high school level, I started to realize there are a lot of opportunities in agriculture beyond just sitting in a tractor every day, which was very appealing to me. There's a lot of roles out there that some people may not be familiar with or understand. So once I went to Guelph, I realized, wow, there's so many different roles that I could take and learn and develop for my own sake to bring back to the farm. And I do that even in my role today as an ag account manager. I learned so much from my clients that I am able to bring back to the farm on the home front, and it's really rewarding from that perspective as well. As a delegate for the Grain Farmers of Ontario, I am an advocate for our local grain farmers, and I am able to, I think, bring a different perspective, being a very young farmer, to the board. And agriculture is constantly changing and evolving, and I think it's important that we have different perspectives around the board. And for that, I do enjoy my role. And from the Ontario Association of Agricultural Societies, I am the provincial director for our local area. I love it because fairs are so important to rural communities and to communities across Ontario. They really are the grassroots of many agricultural functions and various local initiatives that take place. So it's really neat to be able to have that influence while still advocating for agriculture and sharing the story of what we do at the farm level, which for some people might take for granted. For others, it's eye-opening, and it's really neat to play a role in developing local societies initiatives at the provincial level. Future Launch is an initiative that RBC is doing. It is a $5 million commitment over the next 10 years to help engage youth to getting involved in the workforce. For me, I loved the initiative. I thought it was needed. There are so many youth across Ontario that don't have the resources or don't have the connections to be able to help guide them throughout their career, even at a young age of being in high school or even before then. And I've had the opportunity to do some seminars, even at the Royal Winter Fair. And you gain a different perspective from, I think, youth who maybe aren't involved in agriculture for one thing, and also just everyone comes from a different background, and I think it's so fascinating sometimes to gain their perspective. So I really enjoyed working with that initiative and being able to help assist. I think that I relate to a lot of young individuals, being young myself. It wasn't too long ago that I was trying to navigate through finding my career and what I wanted to do. And if I can give, and that's my way of giving back, and if I can have an impact and an influence on them, then I believe that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. It's a really neat initiative as well, because there's so many things that I think we take for granted in terms of like knowing how to network and how to build your brand and or how to build a resume. And it's very interesting, again, to be able to gain, to be able to present some of these things to individuals and at the same time, I'm reflecting on my own self and thinking, oh, I could improve here. I could do this differently. So it's a great rewarding two-way street, I like to call it. So I think I heard not that long ago that we have impacted about 2 million youth across Canada, which is amazing. And I would love to see that number grow even further than that. There's so many opportunities, so many different avenues, so many different other organizations that RBC is collaborating with to do this. And I would love to see that grow even further and to see just how much of an impact we can have on our youth of tomorrow. I think the biggest lesson for me was the fact that growing up in a very rural setting, sometimes you kind of have those blinders on and you think everybody knows everything about agriculture. And it wasn't until I went to the University of Guelph and I got exposed to so many different people of all different areas, and they have so many different perspectives. And I kind of realized at that point, wow, there are so many individuals that don't understand agriculture, especially from the ground up. I think it's important too for myself. I've always tried to network and to connect with individuals outside of just agriculture, because I believe you can gain so much of their perspective and understand where they are coming from at times. So for me, the biggest lesson was just understanding that there is another world outside of agriculture as well, and we have to embrace sometimes those opinions and those perspectives to grow and to learn from, as well as things progress within agriculture, the agricultural industry in general. My biggest accomplishment would definitely be buying 2 farms before the age of 25. It was a goal of mine when I was very young. As I mentioned, I wanted to be involved in my family's operation and grow it. And for myself, it was a personal goal to buy 1 farm. I didn't necessarily expect to buy the second one the year after, but they do say the first one is the hardest. But accomplishing that was huge for me, especially at such a young age. I wouldn't go back. I'm so glad I did it when I did, and to see where I'm at today and how it's just going to improve upon my own operation, but also my family's operation. Oh no, I'm sure there's going to be plenty more in the works at some point. So yes, never say never, that's for sure. I definitely think it's important to network. I think it's important to build those connections, to be curious, and to know that even if you aren't from a farm and you never grew up on a farm, that there's still an opportunity for you in the industry. Your opinion and your perspective matters. And for that, I think it's important that we embrace those individuals as well within the industry. Well, I'd say first off, I think that women have always been involved in agriculture, and it's so exciting because I think we've seen over the past decade, maybe even longer, women are starting to be at the forefront of a lot of conversations. They're sitting on boards. You see, it's very common to see women on different boards, different provincial boards, for instance. We even have a federal and provincial agricultural minister, which is exciting and it's inspirational for a lot of women out there. And I think it's a really neat time to be involved in agriculture as a woman, because there really is endless possibilities for us. And I would also say personally, there's still those times where it's encouraging and it's fun to be able to prove people wrong and to do things and do the unexpected, and to continue to break those barriers. So for me, that was definitely enjoyable, but I also appreciate all the women that have come before me and that were the trailblazers to be heard and to be looked at and to be respected for their opinion. And I know there's a lot of men as well out there that embrace women's opinions and encourage them to take on certain roles. So for that, I'm grateful, and I'm also very proud to be on this path for the next generation of women in the industry. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this